some Obama in me. The hood won't pop, hip-hop wanna see the common in me. And since it's a senseless contradiction, I end up a misfit trying to fit in. This ends when I stand up and see the hands of the standard. Holy is the Lamb. Now we holding you to man up, cause we were made in this image. Start looking at what you came from.
Right after Adam, every atom in our anatomy's adamant, after what Adonai is against. Let me take you back to the dream. Eve never read it, you see the Eve was deceived, but Adam is the one who let her in. Instead of leading, no, we ain't leading, we basically little boys with muscles that I must have. The femininity, we need a remedy to God, man, 100% masculinity.
We the last.
Yeah, with a minute, seems like they all lost. None of them are on the scene, seems like they died off. They extinct, but my dream is the rise of we chasing the prize of the king, the divine boss. But we fell away, now we ungodly. We lose and we really got the blues like Navi. I wanna celebrate the news, it's beside me. Fellas, let's elevate, we through with the live.
They lie, old heads said, boy, get your shine on. And if a sucker try to block you, get your 9 home. And what I heard you gotta do to be a man now. Stand up for yourself, so I took it in my hands now. And that's the problem, man, we busy trying to solve it. All the while we walking dead, man, somebody bring the coffin. Boy, drop peach fuzz, now you think that you a man. Cause you feeling yourself, you need to man up.
Yeah, there's many things man is chasing after. They got some questions, we got some answers. Sex and models and tipping bottles back, a pile of excuses right next to your bottle caps. A Rolodex filled with names that you aim to please. Next to the stack of money, building up a heart of greed. Ice on his neck, giving jokers the cold shoulder. You drunk off pride, plus you loving the hangover. You got a whole lot of stuff that won't amount to gain. Life will never make sense because you never made change.
We got it twisted, sick like a fever. Little man live, stack dough, keep long. Man up, get up out of that treehouse, leave them cookies alone. It's time to eat meat now. Trying to show you a new way to live now. No charge, you call it a freestyle. Without Christ, you know what a man is. You're born a man's body like Tom Hanks in bed. Yeah. Being a man got nothing to do with age. You could be a boy till the day you lay in your grave. None of us behave like the image of who we're made. Cause we fall in the way, it's better known as the brave. Running from responsibility, really we crave. The easy way out of places that call us to pull our weight. Men ain't born through everyday decisions they made. Responding to the call God's giving up from the game. Yeah.
Let the process begin, separate the boys from the men. It don't matter how you started, partners about how you end. Jesus is the model, follow us, we gon' follow him. We the last of a dying breed, it's time that we
the biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio. The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Regina Sunshine, coming to you from what is always a beautiful day for me here in Atlanta, Georgia, with the Living Like a Boss Men show. I know it's just me on camera. But you know, we're here every first Monday, 12 noon to 2 p.m., having conversations about men and everything that relates to men. What my son calls barbershop conversation with a purpose. One of our boss guys, Larry Hodges, is on the way, so I won't be by myself. I've never done a boss show by myself because this is supposed to be about men having conversations with men, right, Nat? But we're going to keep it rolling until one of the boss guys get here. Today's show, I've titled Living with a Purpose, and we have three amazing guests that are going to be here today. We have Cool Water, Joe T. Baker III, and Rico Kaysen, who is en route from Greenwood. That's right, I said Greenwood. South Carolina. It's going to be an amazing show. Normally, I do take a break and then go ahead and give announcements, but I'm going to go ahead and do that now since I've got time. Normally, I have to share that time with the other guys, but it's just me. So for those who don't know, the Regina Sunshine Show and the Living Like a Boss Show also air Tuesdays from 12 to 1 on People TV, which is Comcast Channel 24 here in Atlanta. So you can catch the show again, not the live show you see today. It's a pre-recorded show that we edit that you'll see on People TV, Comcast 24. The biggest thing I guess I want to mention for those who don't know, this year we're having the first annual Boss Awards. And that is in conjunction with the third annual Young Boss Awards. And I'll talk about the Young Boss Awards first. Every year this is our third year, we have had an award show, an actual radio show dedicated to honoring young men ages 5 to 17 that are excelling in whatever their area of gifting is. If it's academics, arts, entrepreneurship, athletics, whatever it is their area of gifting is, we celebrate them. And this is one of the favorite shows I do. That plus the Awesome Girls Show are my two favorite shows that we do. So what we did this year is, instead of just having the Young Boss Awards, we decided to go ahead and add on to that the Boss Awards. So we'll have the two award shows together. Now, I will say this: if you want to nominate a young man aged 5 to 17 to receive a Young Boss Award, you can send his bio as well as why you think he's a young boss or he should be one of our Young Boss honorees to Regina Sunshine Robinson at gmail.com. That's Regina Sunshine Robinson at gmail.com. Now, like I said, so we're going to be doing the first ever Boss Awards, which I'm so excited about. I can't announce the honorees right now. I did send out their honoree letters, emails last night. They all should have gotten their emails by now. So on April the 16th, I will be making the live announcement of who the honorees are for the first ever Boss Awards. I'm so excited about these amazing men that we're going to honor. Some of them are great inspirations to me, been a great help to me in this whole boss journey. For those who don't know, the Living Like a Boss show is a leg or an arm of the Living Like a Boss men's organization. We launched that in Greenwood, South Carolina. We had our first conference there. Our keynote was deaf poet Red Storm. The second conference we had, our keynote was a good brother of mine out of Seattle, Ellert Thomas. And our third conference, our keynote was Professor Griff from Public Enemy. So we've had some amazing keynotes with some other amazing men that have come from all over to help us bring this organization to life. And then we launched the radio show as an extension of that, so we could have these conversations we were having at the conferences on a more regular basis. So you had first the Living Like a Boss organization. Now we have the Living Like a Boss men's show. And the last addition to that has been our Boss Builders Academy. And that is an organization of speakers and who I call community activists who have workshops and other keynote addresses that we actually take into the schools and into different organizations and share the true, what I call how-tos of life and what we call real world conversations in a classroom. Because so often when our kids are having conversations at school that aren't really benefiting them in their everyday lives. So we have people like boss builder Musa Lotala, who Musa's not ashamed to tell you was a big time drug dealer up in New Jersey, went to prison, came out, and now he has a workshop called Respect My Hustle. And he talks about how he changed his illegal hustle into a legitimate hustle. He's a multi-million-dollar real estate developer here in Atlanta. And so he tells kids how he used the same strategies and tools he was using on the streets now to run a profitable business, a legal business. We have people like Danon Butler, who was also one of our boss builders. Danon did 10 years at Alto for armed robbery. Now he's an anger management specialist. He also is a caseworker for at-risk youth. He uses chess as a way to teach kids about strategies in life. We have Laris Hodges, who you guys know from A Beer and a Conversation here on Tuesday nights, who talks about revolutionary economics and about taking back the economic status in our communities. So that's just 3 of my guys. We have 10 Boss Builder guys that are part of that platform as well. So we're continuing to grow, and this award show was a natural evolution of the things the guys have been doing. And for those of you who are watching the show for the first time and you're wondering why there's a woman here talking about a men's organization, I'll give you briefly the founding of the organization. Men kept coming to me and asking me if I could do for them what I do for women. I've been doing women's empowerment for years. And my answer was always the same: that's a great idea, but a man should do it. But I continue to get the same request, and I'm smart enough to know if someone continues to ask you for something, you at least have a part to play. And so my son and I got together and said, what if we just create the atmosphere? What if we just create the space, bring the men together, and allow them to work with each other? And that's what I would do. If you've ever been to a boss event, you don't even know it's my event if you weren't there at the very beginning, because I get up, I say, hello, welcome everybody, and I go to the back of the room and I let the men take over. But it's important to me that we at least create this space. So that's why I'm here. I've tried many times to remove myself from this role, and the guys are always like, no, you bring balance, you help the egos in the room stay on track. So that's pretty cool to hear that from them. So when I tell you I know some amazing men, the men that surround me are some of the best in the world, and I can't wait for you guys to meet them. The Boss Awards and the Young Boss Awards are going to be June the 11th, 2018. It's going to be at my new office in Douglasville. You can go to my website, reginasunshine.com, follow me on Facebook and get that information. From 5:30 to 6:30 is going to be a grand opening business mixer for my new office, and then from 6:30 to 8:30 we'll have the first ever Boss Awards. I can't wait. And some of the guys who've been with me from the beginning in South Carolina are traveling for this. And one thing I'll tell you this, and you'll see on April the 16th when I make the announcement of who the honorees are. We only honored men who've been actively involved in building Boss. And let me tell you why. Because there is a prerequisite for being on this show. You have to be a doer. Everybody knows that. The men that come to this space recognize that if there's a man in this building, he's not here just talking about something that somebody should do or he wishes he was doing. He's already actively involved. That is the prerequisite. And so we were only going to honor men that we know are already in the trenches, already doing good work, already helping our community, already giving back and serving and building up other men. Okay? So that's it. I said a lot to say be there. The theme for the day for the June the 11th Boss Awards is fatherhood, fathering our own children and fathering a community. So that's it. I'm excited. I think that's, if you want to be a vendor or a sponsor, same thing. You can go to Eventbrite and search for the awards, or you can follow me on Facebook or anywhere else, or go to reginasunshine.com. All right. Well, before we go to every break, we always talk about something we're thankful for. And the thing that I said that I'm thankful for today is new beginnings and a sense of purpose. There's so much going on behind the scenes right now in my life, but God is continuing to bless me and show me favor in so many areas. And it's so interesting. I was thinking about the Boss Show coming over here. There have been at least 10 different boss guys now, right, Ned? I'm thinking about from the beginning until now. And it's interesting as the men come into this space, they continue to be blessed and elevated, and they go out and do greater work. And one of the things, when my first set of boss guys got bigger opportunities and they weren't able to be here on Mondays, I thought about shutting this show down. And then the next group of boss guys came along. And what I found then was, this is not about a particular set of men being here. This is about creating a space that men can come and have conversations that matter. But because of the relationships that are built in this circle, they're going to continue to grow, continue to advance. And we're going to continue to have new boss guys. And that's important, that we continue to have this space so they can do that. So, as Michael Supreme always tells me, I'm so glad you didn't shut it down. I never would have got the chance to be a boss guy if you had. So shout out to Michael Supreme. He was trying to get here today and some things held him up. Love you, brother. Pastor Akeem Woodard, love you. Pastor Stephen Palmer. I'm trying to remember all the boss guys now. Benjamin Puckett, Musa, I already mentioned Musa Lotala, Laris Hodges is on the way, and Michael Supreme. I love you guys. Thank y'all for supporting me in my dreams, and we could do some awesome things in 2018. All right, that's it. I'm gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll have our first guest of the day. Cool Waters in the building. I can't wait to introduce you to him. here live with Regina Sunshine on the Living Like a Boss Men's Show on Instinct Radio.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine with the Living Like a Boss Men's Show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose. Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine Robinson, coming here today to talk to you about my new book, Regina Sunshine State of Mind, 7 Keys to Help You Get Your Mind Right. If you've been looking for that tool to help you in getting a positive mental attitude and not only getting it, but maintaining it, this is the book for you. You can find it on my website, reginasunshine.com, or you can also find it at amazon.com.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine here on the Living Like a Boss Men's Show. Here every first Monday, 12 noon to 2 p.m. We have our first guest of the day, and I'm going to read just a little bit about him before we bring him in. The bio I received says, Cool Water is a rapper, blogger, podcaster, internet marketer, and entrepreneur. Cool Water is a graduate of Alabama State University with a degree in special education, mental retardation. He is also the creator of the lecture series, Who Killed the Black Entrepreneur? Cool Water released several records, one being My Next Door Neighbor, and most notably the street anthem, You Better Buy a Gun, back in 2007, along with the album, A Good Education Gone Bad. We'll stop there. Welcome to the show,
Thank
Cool
you.
Water.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, I felt like the list of who you are and what you do was going to go on forever. So what you are is a serial entrepreneur.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
for sure.
I can agree with that, as they say.
So
Yeah.
there were some other things that I didn't mention. What would you like our audience to know about you, maybe that I didn't say?
Well, I think, listening to your introduction, that, I'm definitely a doer.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess it's just innate. It's the DNA. I don't know where it comes from, but I definitely don't have a problem with doing. I enjoy doing. I'm definitely in the community. I do work in and out the schools from time to time. One of the things that I've been big on lately is reading.
Yes.
So I've been buying books for people
Yes.
and passing that out, trying to touch folks so they can elevate their consciousness and elevate their, their state of mind so that we can begin to do, some things outside of the home and get into the community, as you say, and get active, and really start giving back. That's one of the things I think that's most dear to me. Because I just, I don't even need to know you. If that's what book you want, I got you.
That's
what I'm
what's
saying? So that's kind of what I like doing the most.
I love that. I always mention at the beginning of an interview how I met someone, but I don't know how we connected. This is rare. Do you know how we connected?
I do remember. I was on Tina's page.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and I think you may have had a post up on her page relative to something about doing something, and I put something down to the fact that, I'm working on building my empire. And then you was like, okay, well, next thing I know, you was like, can you come to the show, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And then the first offer, I wasn't able to make it. Then you followed back up with me, which is, something that we should all be doing. Yes. And I said, well, let me get down there. I don't want to miss the opportunity. So then it worked out in my favor, and, I'm here today.
Well, that's good. See, I didn't remember. Normally I have a note, and the only thing I put down here was social media. I was like, it had to be social media.
It was Facebook. It was definitely Facebook. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I know, like I said, I mentioned before that you went to Alabama State.
Yes, ma'am.
And you studied special education. Why did you choose education?
Well, it didn't start out like that.
Okay.
Okay, I think most of us know you go to college, you ended up with 2 or 3 majors, and I had about 4.
Okay, so where did you start?
I started off in recreational therapy.
Okay.
And definitely a good program. Just didn't last. Ended up moving from there to biology, and wasn't doing too good. Ended up in education. But then turns out, because I'm a people person and I'm very social, that ended up working for me. And then I'm able to relate to the children real well. You know what I'm saying? Like they really. Because I'm just not one of those guys that like to sugarcoat it. I like to just keep it real with you, keep it real straight. And because of that, over the years, a lot of, young men now and young adults, they see me and, they give me love because of the conversations that we had and me really keeping it real with them about what's going on in the world. So that kind of worked out. I think it was, divine, as they say, you know what I mean, for me because I'm social. And then I don't have a problem, with special ed, you tend to be working with a lot of kids that are mentally dysfunctional. So some people may have a problem with doing some of the, I guess you could say the physical stuff, changing the diaper, wiping the mouth. Not all of them are like that, but it depends on, whatever their criteria is. So I don't really have a problem with it. Like I don't get all bent out of shape because, this little baby, might need to have a little napkin or something to keep wiping, or he's deaf or he can't see. So I don't really have a problem with it. So it kind of makes me a better person in a sense too, because I learned something from them as well.
I love that.
So that's kind of what it is.
Well, the thing about education in general for me, I think is, I know it's a calling. It's not for everybody. I'm currently working in education as well, and I think so many people go into it for the wrong reasons, not recognizing this is something you should love. When you get up in the morning, it needs to be something you're looking forward to going to do that day, because the kids sense whether or not whether or not you really want to be there.
They do every day. They're gonna let you know too. So yeah, that for me, I think is one of the reasons why I'm able to connect with them, because they know I'm coming from the heart. Like, and then me and my partner have another guy, shout out to B Brown, who works in education. And, we talk about the children getting upset with certain adults because they don't feel that love. You know what I'm saying? Like they're really, feeling some kind of way about that particular teacher or whomever, because they're not showing them some type of compassion. Because when they go home, ain't no telling what they dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, I got you. We can talk about whatever. I'm going to be hard on you. I'm going to be firm. You might not like it, but you will appreciate it later on. So over the years, like I said, running into some of the guys now, they 24, 25 and older, hey, man, I really appreciate that. Hey, man, you was really hard on us, man. I didn't understand, but I really thank you for what you did. So for me, that's fulfilling enough in itself to know that I touched a lot of folks in that regard.
I love that. Well, since we're on the topic of education, I'm going to stay here for a moment. What do you see, I guess, with our kids that needs to happen in terms of our schools that maybe isn't happening?
I think the school system has to take a look at the educational system itself, being that it is somewhat outdated.
Yeah.
Technology is moving so fast that education itself is lagging behind like 50 years, being real honest. So when you have a mind that's getting adapted to technology in like a matter of minutes and being able to touch the world and the globe, and then you're still talking about George Washington discovered America and and it's like, so I think it needs to be revamped. You know what I mean? So that it's more hands-on, it's more tangible and kinesthetic, so that they feel like, okay, I can still get a little bit of this history, but y'all also getting me really prepared for the future, as they say. So I think that's a real big issue in itself, and that some of the educators themselves have to really learn how to communicate with all of the kids, whether their ethnic background doesn't match yours or whatever. You really got to know how to communicate, because there's a lot of people that are out of touch, and they get offended if they see the young man with his pants down, and then they want to get mad if he say something slick, and it's like, well, ain't no need to get mad. You just got to know how to relate to him, so you can get him to do what you want him to do, or her. And a lot of people don't understand that. So I think that's one of the issues.
I agree with you 100%. Well, one of the things you mentioned that I saw somewhere is that you call yourself the digital dope man.
That's, yeah.
Please tell us about that name.
Well, that was an accident. The accident was the accident was I was on social media talking, and I was talking to somebody, and I just signed my name saying, yeah, the Digital Dope Man. So somebody else was like, ooh, I like that. And I was like, okay. So I said, well, maybe I'm on to something. And then I started using it, and then I would put it in my text marker signature.
Yeah.
So a couple of my, ex-girlfriends, they started laughing at it. And I was like, well, maybe I'm on to something. So realistically, because I'm an internet marketer and I sell online digital information, it applies to that. Mm-hmm. And then being that I sell a lot of digital information and I put a lot of digital information out, I just use that analogy to be able to mash the two, so to speak, because I'm giving you a lot of dope, but it's in the form of information. And a lot of people seem to like it. So which, spawns from the blog is hiphopdead.com. That's one of the areas where, I'm constantly putting up new content, constantly trying to, put out information that's going to be beneficial to the public so that they can gain, whatever information they need to help improve their situation.
Well, I love it. In terms of branding, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, so far it's doing okay. I got this. They say I gotta tweak it, but I'm gonna stick with it for a little while.
Because we talk about things that get kids' attention, right?
Right.
You walk in and you say, or somebody introduces you that way, they're like, hold up.
Right.
And so you got them before you even start.
I've been, and I don't know where it came from. I've been blessed enough to be able to get people's attention when I, was actually out in the music industry, so to speak, and we was in the street putting out flyers. I've done some crazy things, and I've caught some good and bad flack from it. But at the end of the day, it started to help me penetrate some of the people's barriers that I normally probably wouldn't have got in as a result of it. So I think creativity is something that is just innate. It's it's something on my my back, as I say, my backside, so to speak. So I'll roll with it.
Well, we talked about education because that's kind of where you started, but so much of what you're doing now seems like it's in a whole different field. How did you get into the internet marketing and podcasts and all these other things?
Well, to be honest with you, I am still teaching. It's just I'm doing it online.
That's exactly right.
You know what I'm saying? And the way I got into the internet world was I got an email, I got a flyer from Google to go to a conference, a little workshop for this place called Stores Online. Mm-hmm. And me and one of my friends, some of you all may know Jawar, we went, and, they fed us good. And they was telling us, about setting up an online store. So from there, we kind of spawned off into the blogs. And Google Blogger was my first blog platform. And then from there, I somehow ended up on a guy's membership site, Blog Success. So I followed him for several years, and then, I just kept evolving. You know what I mean? So from there, as I kept growing, the podcasting and, like I say, the internet marketing, the ebooks, things of that nature. So it's all inclusive. It's all part of, I would say, my infrastructure, my platform, because again, we social media, so we Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. All of that is just the distribution platform that you use to try to touch the audience. But, what you have as far as your products and services, that is, your, I guess you could say your base, your e-commerce base. So for me, that's what it is. And then I just use, the platforms to, to touch people and continue to, evolve. So I think, I'm still teaching, so to speak, and I'm just doing it online in a digital format.
I agree. So in terms of what you do, is this purely to market your own products, or do you bring on other business owners and assist them?
It's for my own self, so to speak, but joint venturing is something that I would like to do, providing that me and that person has the right mash. Haven't found that particular person as of yet, but, my eyes are open if I can find that particular person. So it's not necessarily just me, and I just want to be, a hog and all this, so to speak. I'm very open, to working with other individuals if the product and services that we both offer go together, and then we can both, benefit from it. So, I'm open to it. Yeah, I'm definitely open to it.
So with everything you're doing now, what are you most excited about? What do you love the best about what you're doing?
Shoot, having some freedom. That's one of the things. But again, I'm a social person. I love talking to people. I love talking to people about, topics of importance. I love talking to people about things that could be silly and funny. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm a well-rounded guy. So for me, being able to touch people, being able to, maybe sometimes get in and help other people do what they need to do for themselves. I think that's just, who I am as a person. So it works in that format for myself. But I just get excited, man, about really being able to see if I can make a change. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see if I can. And sometimes I might be an agitator. It might piss you off, and that might, okay, well, that was cool.
A disruptor. I like that.
Yeah, I'm a disruptor, so I might disrupt a few folks and get under their skin. But overall, I'm a nice guy. I'm a cool guy. But I like to be able to give back and see what improvements we can come together in terms on to help everybody as a whole. That's kind of where I am at the most point.
Do you have any current projects that you want to promote or mention to us?
Well, I'm about to, I'm finishing up writing this ebook, Banking Black, which talks about, we had the issue with everybody was talking about, open up a black bank account, blah, 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 blah. So I'm working on that to try to add some light and some subject matter on that. I have an ebook in the works, How to Hustle and Grind in the Trump Economy. So everybody, seen the ebook for that, and they're, totally excited about that. So I want to touch that audience and the people who really are confused about what to do in the Trump era, and see, we can build relationships and folks can really get a chance to, better their situation. So that's kind of the two things I got.
So when you think about your life and all the projects you're a part of, all the things you're excited about, all the things that still to come, what legacy do you hope that you leave behind?
That I actually made a difference to help people advance themselves in the world and take a good hard look at yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you can be objective to who you are as a person and make improvements in your own life, I think then, you really, are doing something. And I think that for me, that is one of the things that I strive for the most, which is being able to, look at myself objectively and say, okay, man, you ain't really good at this. You need to work on this, or your attitude was like this. You need to fix this. And, so for me, I hope I can leave that type of legacy. He really made me think about this stuff. He really made me look at myself and become a better person. And as a result, he gave me some stuff I could use in the process.
That's what's up.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Well, tell our audience how they can follow you, how they can keep up with you on social media.
The blog, naturally, please go and subscribe, ishiphopdead.com. That's my blog site. Also, I'll be getting the website, thedigitaldopeman.com. It's in the process of being revamped. If you go, you'll see a site that I built personally, but it's not as
that's you,
up to par. Yeah, that's me. It's not as up to par as I would like it, but that you can find me on Facebook at the Digital Dope Man. You can find me on Twitter at CoolWater101. You can find me at G+, Google+, at Mr. Alexander. And those are probably the three platforms, you can catch up with me. I'm on Facebook a lot, Twitter a lot, so.
I'm telling you, that Digital Dope Man is where it is.
Okay. Well,
I'm telling you, that branding is so.
I ain't mad. A friend of mine said, hey, man, that's dope. I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Y'all feeling it. We just got to keep the copycats off. And everything, because they get to biting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Well, can you stay around and come back and talk with all the guys here at the end of the show?
Yeah, I can do.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have our next guest. He is in the building, Joe T. Baker III. I can't wait for you to meet him and hear about his new book. You're live with Regina Sunshine here on the Living Like a Boss Show. Peace. On Instinct Radio.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hi, it's your girl Regina Sunshine, bringing you the Regina Sunshine Show, my version of midday motivation, helping you get a Regina Sunshine state of mind. Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine with the Living Like a Boss Men show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose. Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine, and they call me the Affirmation Queen. Why am I called the Affirmation Queen? Because I'm a big believer that if you change the way you speak, you'll change the way you think, and you'll change the circumstances in your life. So start today speaking words of life over you and your circumstances, and see if everything doesn't begin to line up with those things that you are speaking. And I want to leave you with these parting thoughts. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. And take with you my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning. Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine with the Living Like a Boss Men show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air, Regina Sunshine and the Boss Men. Here on the Living Like a Boss show on Instinct Radio. I have been joined by one of our actual boss builders, Mr. Benjamin Puckett. Tell everybody real quick who you are and what you do, Benjamin.
I am your favorite win strategy speaker and millennial professional development corporate trainer, Benjamin Puckett. You know, essentially what I do is student development for the middle schools, high schools, and then do the professional development for my juniors, seniors in college, and Fortune 500 companies and small businesses.
That's what's up. Yeah. Did I tell you I got some great guys on this team? No, and that's kind of serious for Benjamin, because normally he's real. I love it. All right, and you know, we've been rejoined by Cool Water, who is an honorary boss co-host for the day. He didn't know he was going to do that either, but it's real up in here.
You gotta put the work.
Yes. And so we have our next official guest of the day, Mr. Joe T. Baker III. And I'm just going to read a little, because you sent me a long bio. I'm going to read like the first couple sentences. I know. And then you can fill us in on what you want us to know, okay? It says, Baker reveals his personal transition to a new way of life in his book, The Life Sunday to Sunday. Born in the small town of Springfield, Tennessee, Baker spent most of his childhood on the wrong side of the law. His crimes included everything from selling drugs, robbing innocent people, stealing cars, becoming involved in a gang, and even escaping from jail. Now, that's real. You don't meet many people who escaped from jail. This behavior eventually led Baker to a prison sentence of 10 years. And we'll start there, because a lot of what you talk about, I guess, in terms of your book, is the transformation of your life from before that time until after. So welcome to the show.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Well, how we met, I think you contacted Instinct Radio.
Right.
And you were looking, because you were in town for a couple of days to promote your book. And I think I jumped on it immediately, didn't I, Ned? I was like, I'll interview him. I got him. I want that interview, especially in light of the fact that and I mentioned earlier some of my boss guys. People are always shocked when they hear Ben's not in this number, but about half of my boss guys have been incarcerated for at least 10 years. And one of the reasons I love having them on my team is because it shows who you can be.
Right.
And that, you know, whatever has happened in the past is not the final answer.
Right.
You can
Right.
transform your life and do something
Right.
new. And so when I heard your story, I was like, oh, this is so boss. You know, the transforming of lives. So tell us about that period of time in your life when you went from just being on the street to now you're in prison.
Right. Well, I started getting in trouble at age 14, 15. I was in and out of trouble by the age 14, 15 on up to 17. I ended up going to jail for attempted murder when I was 17 for a year. And when after I did that, I went back to prison. I went to prison 8 months after that. It was actually an 11-year sentence, a 10-year for special aggravated robbery, special aggravated kidnapping, and first-degree murder. And I ended up getting a 1 year for an escape charge. And I ended up going to prison. I ended up getting a 10-year sentence. I think it was a blessing from God because I was able to come back home. But where the transition actually started is where I went to like my 4th prison where I met my dad. I went to see my dad when I was little, and me and my dad was actually cellies. We were cellmates for like 4 or 5 months, and this was before the transition took place. And it was one night I got up to use the bathroom, and I remember washing my hands, and I looked back and looked at my dad, and he was asleep. And at that point, I was like, something need to change, because we were still pretty much in the life at the time. We was hustling. I was actually going with the female guard that worked there, which was bringing us drugs in prison. And so at that point, I was like, man, something need to change. And just so happened, God broke us up because of what was going on. They didn't catch us, but they knew something was going on, so they split us up. They sent him to another prison and sent me to the other side of the state to another prison. And I went to another prison where my daddy's brother is, which is my uncle, who got a 75-year sentence. And my daddy got 2 life sentences. And both of them was the head of organizations. But my uncle had gave his life to Christ. So after watching him for like 2-3 months, I used to send him drugs to prison before I went in. So after watching him for 2 or 3 months, I was like, you know, whatever that is, I need that. Because I've been in and out of trouble my whole life. I've been in mental health hospitals. I got cuts on my wrists. I took psychotropic meds. I mean, I've done everything it is you could think to do. I got molested at the age of 10. So I'm like, I'm finna get ready to go home. I got like 2.5 years left before I go home. And I started going to church, praying, pretty much doing everything you feel like you got to do to get something from God. And at that moment, when they denied me, I was like, this ain't working. I'd rather go back to do what I was doing before, you know, I felt like God was just going to open up the windows of heaven if I just started praying and going to church. It didn't work. Well, after sitting in my cell for like 3 days, my cellie, which was my uncle's best friend at the time, named Clifton Brown, they called him Dip. And he was like, what you going to do? I said, I'm going to write a book. And he bust out laughing. Because a lot of people talking about writing books and what they going to do when they get out and this and that and this and that. So I said, hand me my tablet. And I just started pouring out my heart. It's actually a non-fictional book. Bits and pieces of my life, these characters who got the same questions I had. If God is real, why is this and why is that? Why did I have to experience the things I experienced? Why did I go through the things I went through? You know, having the mindset that I have. Because on top of that, I've never did drugs. I've never been high. I've never been drunk a day in my life. So I had a lot of questions with God, like why I had to go down the path I went through. And I would ask my cellie, hey, what's a good scripture that'll fit for this conversation I'm having with the characters? And he started giving me scriptures. And after him giving me scriptures, I started reading for myself. Once I started reading for myself, I was like, man, this is who I was supposed to be. This is who I was supposed to be from the beginning. I started realizing who I really was supposed to be. And I just kept writing. I actually wrote 3 books. The first one is more so my transition of how I ended up finding out who I was in Christ and how to live a different lifestyle. And after that, man, that's pretty much how the transition took place.
Well, you don't said did y'all hear? You said a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, from when you go from your father being your cellmate.
That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you see the generational curse on your life.
Yeah.
That's a bit, and it's a big thing that you kind of picked it up and saw it, and then just keep saying, I'm just keep banging and drug dealing, doing what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be like my dad. Yeah. It was great that you went through, that you saw that, and I'm glad you said that you asked the question of why do I have to go through this? It's really like that you had to so you could pull somebody else out of it.
Right.
Because because people don't care about what you go through, they care about you coming through on the other side. Like, 'cause a lot of people talk about because, you know, since I'm a speaker, I heard a lot of people give these great principles and all this other stuff they read. And you'd be like, man, so did you experience this? They like, no, I just read it. And it almost takes away their credibility because
Right.
it's like you're telling me this stuff, but you haven't gone through it.
Right.
A plan is great, but when you put it into action, it changes
Right.
the game. So it's almost meant for you to go through those things, and everybody has their different trials in life, so that when you write your book, now people are reading something from somebody that actually went through it, and you probably using street verbiage.
Right.
That's why people
Exactly.
love Jeezy,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
because he
Yeah.
was
He
using
was
street verbiage.
There it is.
And actually, and they were like, "Oh, this boy actually know what he's talking
Exactly.
about." Like stuff that
Exactly.
I probably wouldn't even. I'd be like, "Okay, that sounds
Yeah, yeah,
cool
yeah,
to
yeah,
you."
yeah.
It's like,
That's it.
We that's it.
That's
We
it.
did that.
Yeah.
So it's just transparency. It's something that you got to go through, and that's how you bring people out
Right.
of it. That's really how you bring people
Right.
out of it.
And I can't even put into words. You know, I've only been home 10 months. I got out last year, May 23rd. Just the stuff that God done did in my life since I've been home. It's just amazing to me. Even to be here. When I came here, I spent everything I had to come to Perimeter Mall for the rental space. And I had other people give me money. I came out here staying at an Airbnb. And after about 3 days at the Airbnb, it was a woman my mama had met on the internet like a year ago. Come to find out, we may be related. But she said God spoke to her and laid it on her heart and said, house him and feed him 3 times. She told me to come and stay with her. So I've been going to stay with her and taking the train and Uber and the bus to the mall. And even just doing that, I'm from a little small town. It's a little small town, man. So much going on. Ain't nobody really trying to step outside of that box. Or the people who trying to, it's hard to because we ain't never seen it. We don't know what it looked like. Even I used to tell my uncle all the time, watching you, it was different to me because how I was living, I was robbing and at the age of 15, 16, shoot, I probably shot 3-4 people at the age of 16, 17. To me, I thought everybody was living like that. And after watching something different, I was like, what is that? It was weird to me. Even the first time somebody prayed with me in a cell, the first time somebody said, let me pray with you, I was really like, what? You usually hear people say, well, I'm going to pray for you. But to actually hear somebody pray over my life, I was like, that's amazing. You know, to actually embrace me, and I knew something was different about the love that they expressed, even under the circumstances they were in. I mean, my uncle had a 75-year sentence. His best friend got a 20. And half of these people around me got life sentences, and they serving Jesus. I'm like, they got some real hope. They got faith.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm finna take
right
that
about that.
to the streets. But, you know.
So I'm gonna say this, man, because I'm just like, you know, like right now, like, and you writing books because it's all relative. You definitely want to start writing that movie script.
Yeah.
That sound like a movie. Like you
Yeah.
can't,
Yes.
you can't get it. No, I mean you, your dad, and your
I've
uncle.
never heard a story like that. Ever.
I ain't never heard that. And I'm like, okay. Now the question I would have for you is, being that it's generational, did your father ever at any point in time say, you know, don't do this, go this way? Did he ever give you? Because and add light to that. You know, my third oldest brother, younger than me, his father was a big time drug dealer.
Right.
He went to prison for 15 years.
Right.
Right. Came out, turned his life around. So he flips houses now. Doing fairly well, you know, like he got a 6-figure income. But I don't remember him telling my little brother, hey man, don't do this. So now my little brother tells me, you know, as of late, you know, I got a felony, but I ain't know. This is
Right.
new to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, it seems to always be
Right.
that generational thing going
Right.
on with the father and the son.
Right. Well, the odd thing about that, if you will, pick your phone up.
This one.
His phone failed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nick, could you put his phone up?
It's cool. It done went out
Yeah.
one way. But anyway, I
think it's the other way.
My dad,
You live streaming.
yeah.
Flip it around, Ned.
It done went off now.
Cool, where let her get it. It's right there. Yeah.
Let me see. I'll turn it.
She's gonna set it up for
You
you.
probably have to turn it back on. But the question you had about my dad, like when my dad had a tattoo. He got a tattoo right here of a pitchfork. When we used to go see him, when we were kids. So the first time I went to juvenile, the first time I got sent to a group home, I was actually around some people that was throwing up pitchforks, and I was like, what is that? And then after that, when I went to prison and got it around people, and I was like, I know what that is. That's how I ended up asking my dad about it. He actually recommended it. He didn't say don't do it. He didn't, you know, when it came to selling drugs, my brother was a big time drug dealer, which he a user now. You know, and then I ended up getting in the drug game, but he the one gave us our plugs in the dope game while he was in prison with people that he had met.
Okay.
So it really wasn't too much of, hey, don't do this or don't do that all the time. If he said it, he wasn't living it. You know what I'm saying? If he was like, well, this is the consequences that come with that, really, it was more so because he was benefiting off of us, off the lifestyle we were living, because we were getting to send him drugs or we were being able to send him money. It was benefiting him. It was more of a selfish type of, you know. But me and him, we actually like the best of friends now. But nah, he didn't never. It wasn't too many instances where he was like, hey, if you do that, this is what's gonna happen. It wasn't no, hey, if I turn you on to this plug, you gonna take the risk of getting robbed. My brother got robbed. Like the first time he went to go get a whole bird, 20,000, guy put a gun in his face. But it wasn't never. Nah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, so you say you started writing. What, you had 2.5 years left?
I had 2.5 years left. Yep.
All right. So the first book. So now you say you've written 3. Were you able to publish while you were still incarcerated?
Yes, man. I published my first one. I self-published my first one while I was still in. I actually had it out probably a year or so before I came home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That doesn't often happen. Normally, people have to wait till they get home. That means you're incredibly resourceful.
Yeah.
Is what that means.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be.
You have to be.
As you say, you know, when you can do it like that, then you can do anything. Just about.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about prison is a lot of stuff that's going on in trees is going on in prison. I mean, I had access to cell phones, all kinds of stuff.
Right. You said one of the prison guys was your girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
I was like, wait a
That's
minute.
crazy. Yeah, I hear the stories, but I've never
heard of that before.
Yeah, I've never seen it or met nobody.
But like you said, being very resourceful, having access to a cell phone, and you know, you at some point you want to get on YouTube and you start looking up this information, trying to find out how to do this stuff. And my dad had actually self-published a book, and he gave me a little bit of the game. So after that, I started researching myself. I'm like, if he can do it, I'm gonna do it too. But you know,
So you're here promoting which book?
The Life's Under the Sunday. The Life's Under the Sunday. And it's about a guy who living a fast life, money, drugs, women. And pretty much, I play the main character, which is James. In the book, he's called James Buford, aka Supreme, and it's about him getting out of the game, getting out of the life, what it represents as a life outside of God, and him transitioning over, giving his life to Christ and trying to lead other people, starting with his friends first. Because when I went through my transition in prison and being affiliated and having a position, once I was like, you know what, I'm done, it was kind of tough. But through the grace of God, wasn't no harm. I didn't get beat up. I didn't get stabbed, none of this stuff. And a lot of people still say, how did you do that? I don't know. It had to be God. But a lot of people was like, man, how you just going to get out of the game, quit hustling, quit doing this, quit making calls, and leave us like that? And that's what James go through in the book, having to go against his friends and try to give them a different perspective on life. Like, hey, we can't keep living like this. We can't keep treating like people like this. You know, you can't live your life like this forever. And that's pretty much what the book is about. And it's got a lot of scriptures lined up in it. Like I said, when he was helping with the scripture, why is this and why is that? The scriptures lined up with why we act the way we act or do the things we do, and the consequences of sin, why we end up in the positions we end up in, living that lifestyle.
So you say your uncle was I guess that was like a catalyst for you, seeing his life change. How, I guess, did your relationship with him help you in this transition?
That relationship was tougher than probably my dad's because me and my dad was doing what we do. And when I got to my uncle, I had already called the prison before I got moved. I knew I was getting moved, so I was like, hey, I need 4 ounces of weed and a cell phone as soon as I get there so I can start back hustling. So when I got there, for the first time, everything I tried to do, it wouldn't work. I'm talking about everything just went to nothing. And so my uncle had found out I was trying to do little stuff here and there. And he would come, he said, nephew, you can't do that, nephew. I'm like, shh. Me and him bumped heads so many times because I'm like, he was like, you got to trust God. That's what he used to tell me. I'm telling him, I trust God, but all I know is hustling. Right. You talking about survive and make my money. They paying me 17 cents. You know, I don't have to go to child. I got all this commissary. I can still, you got to let all that stuff go. Now I'm like, but. He was like, when you come to trusting God, he was like, you got to leave that out. And it took probably 3-4 months before I was really like, well, God really wore me out. I had spent all my money. I'm walking the child even in the rain, and my uncle, and I keep looking at him, I'm like, he doing it. So at that point, me and him, we bumped heads a lot because it was a lot I had to shed off. That was hard. I was, then always being in a leadership position, being around these men who had changed their life and gave their life to God. All these guys, leaders, been in the position I've been in now. They telling me what that I wasn't used to, people trying to guide me in the right direction until I'm looking at it like you trying to boss me around. But really, they was looking out for my best interest. And it took me a while to get there.
Wow. So since you've been home, it's been 10 months. What has been, I guess, the biggest blessing of now having your freedom again?
My daughter. I went 10 years straight without even being able to see my child. You know, I didn't see my mama, you know, and I think it's because being in and out of juvenile, she used to come see me all the time. Always taking me places, always doing stuff for me. And then she got tired. So not being able to see my family and be home now and be a different man and watch the response and hear my mama say, I'm proud of you. It's real. It ain't, I don't have to look over my shoulder. I'm not afraid of who Christ has made me. So my daughter, and it's like, even though I've been gone all this time, we still, it's like I never left.
Right.
You know, it ain't the best that I think they could, but I know she loved me.
Right.
And that's what's the most important to me. And then being here right now, I mean, I should have got a life sentence or been dead.
Oh yeah, because you had a couple attempted murders.
Exactly.
So it should have been. You should have been gone.
It's
tough.
It's a blessing to stay right here.
But that should show you that there's something on you right now that your life, you're meant to save somebody's life. I don't know if it's one person's life, 10 people's life, 1,000 people's lives. But it's always funny, or not funny. It's always is well, I'll just keep it because I can't think of another word about who almost gets that pass, right? I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about religion and God and why some people have a problem following God or these different things. Like people that are atheists, they're like, why this young little kid get cancer and this person out here selling drugs, doing all this other stuff, and they ain't getting nothing, woody wop wop. And it's because, for one, we have the will to make our own decisions. And if we never had a bad day, we wouldn't know what a good day looks like. Right. So, and I think it's important for and I believe life isn't fair, but I believe in that though. Like certain things just happen.
Right.
Like some people just gonna get certain stuff, some people aren't gonna get certain stuff. And your story and what you've gone through, it's just gonna save some people. Like it's just funny how like some people just get that pass almost.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. Even when I like I'm in Perimeter Mall, it's a high end mall to me back home. So even sometimes a woman told me, she said, "Don't share your story." She was like, "Sell your book." I'm like, I got to tell these folks what I've been through. I have to tell them what Jesus done for me. Right. And I found myself sometimes not sharing like I usually, like I've been doing since I've been home. Now God called me to do that. I had to tell them whether they can buy this book or not. I want them to know Jesus changed my life. You know, a lot of people got a lot to say about the word, this and that, and how, you know, and I'm like, it tell me what happened to me. Right. Because a man like me couldn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm done. It takes a higher power to do this, and it was the word of God who they transformed me, and I know it, and can't nobody take that from me.
Well, I think you the example. As piggybacking off of what he said, you the light. So you the example, you know, and your transgressions is what is going, as he say, free somebody else. Because I mean, like I said, I ain't never heard a story like this. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, my hat's off to you. The question that I also have for you is, I've often wondered how guys that went into prison were able to come out and become successful. Because really, you got all the odds stacked against you. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what clicks with y'all? You know, I can even take my brother's father. He was in... might have been in foster homes, and you know he had a bad upbringing as well. But for some reason or another, you know, $9 million out the dope game. Go to prison 15 years, come out now, he flipping houses. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's a mindset. So I'm often wondering, you know, what made you click and say, okay, even though I'm down, I'm still gonna brush this off and keep moving.
Like you said, it was a mindset. I started paying attention to people who were living the lifestyle I was living, like they wasn't getting nowhere. I mean, you had a pocket full of money, right? But you wasn't getting nowhere, right? And I was like she was saying about the guy earlier that learned how to take his hustle and transition it to something else. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try that. Okay. Because why not try to use the same method or the same mindset when I was living for the enemy and use it and live for God. And that's what's been helping me more than anything. And then God always reminded me of the life before. It keeps me, like Paul said, you know, I have to let go of the things I'm having and look forward. It keeps me pushing towards something better. And the more and more God always, somebody call and say, hey, I'm proud of you, this and that, that's enough for me to just keep going, and keep that mindset. Hey, I don't have everything I had before. I don't have all the money. I don't have, you know, but I have my peace, and I know that He's working. I have all the necessities that I need. Because, like I said, it's amazing to be in this room with y'all. I'm like serious, like seriously. It's amazing to me to even have this conversation, because I should have been in the cell.
That's it.
Right.
That's real peace.
Yeah.
Peace above all else. I'm telling you to have your peace. Like you said, you don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't wonder who coming for you. And you can really begin to live a life of purpose. You know, and as I was looking at everybody's bios today, that was where I titled the show Living on Purpose. Because now I believe you're operating the purpose that you were divinely sent here for.
Right.
And you got all the tools now to do everything that God has for you,
Yeah.
because you, number one, you're so likable. I mean, and so
Like
you,
good person.
they're not
I appreciate
expecting the story that's going to come out of your mouth when you
appreciate
open your
that.
mouth, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have took you for that.
I
You know what I'm
appreciate it.
saying? Like, now you be like, hey, dog, I'm like, you know, I might need to step back a little bit. I don't know if she gonna explode or what. You know what I'm saying?
You know the words that are gonna set them off.
Yeah.
Man, feel good to feel free like this though. You know,
Yeah.
to laugh because I don't have to carry that hard exterior though.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
this, man,
'Cause-
it's gone.
Because in the dope game, because I know some people that they sold a little lightweight stuff, and it's almost like they you gotta keep this exterior like you hard, and they always looking
Yeah.
over your shoulder. Like
Man.
they got money, you might have money, but you can't
Yeah,
sleep good.
man, yeah.
Because I actually do personal development for Gwinnett counties, like juvenile detention centers or whatever. And it was one little young man in there. He, you know what I'm saying, he's selling some weed or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and he keeps getting like robbed and jumped.
Yeah.
Because he got money or whatever. I was like, bro, you ain't even made for this.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at him. I was like, bro, you've been robbed like 3 times,
Right.
And you can't sleep good at night. You not made for this. Like he was
Right.
talking about how he carried your gun and how somebody rolled up on him. I was like, bro, you not made for this.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just thinking, I was like, bro, that's not a life. Like, you might have some money, you might be able to buy the J's, you might have a nice whip, but you're looking over your shoulder.
yeah.
You don't know every time you go to re-up on your deals if they gonna try to rob you.
Man.
And also, like, I heard Black Youngster talk about this one time where sometimes he sell fake work.
Yeah.
Like he
It's-
bring a whole
Whole
bird
bird, yeah.
of some fake
Fake.
work, and people wouldn't even know until they got to where they
Until they
going.
go. It's over
and,
then.
and now he in shootouts. I'm like, it's not worth it. I'm like, I'd
Right
rather
about that.
I would rather just hustle the other way, because the thing is about like people that are really successful hustling like that are great businessmen.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, because you like it's almost like you understand how to flip, how to take
Right.
something like real estate is amazing for people that used to sell dope,
Right.
because like you're so smart. Like
Yes.
it's such a tangible
Yeah.
skill
Yeah.
that like you don't even realize,
Yeah.
but it's also your perspective, because you said you came from a real small town.
Yeah.
It's all you knew. It's almost like you got generational
Yeah.
hustlers in your family. And when you came here, Perimeter's a big mall for you. That's the small. That's like the medium sized mall. You go to Lennox and Phipps. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's all about perspective. Like
Right.
and when we were at Hope Global Forum this past week, I thought about that. I was like, man, if we opened up the door and could just bring I could bring 5 or 10 of my mentees in here. They may not understand everything that's going on, but just to be in a room and be able to sit 5 feet away from somebody that got $1 billion,
Right.
and
Yeah.
don't got
Man.
a big heavy chain
Yeah.
on and no Balenciagas.
Right.
And he had on one of the most untailored suits I've seen in my life, and some shoes. I don't know what, man. I was like, what are those? Bruh? But the boy bank
right.
account
Yeah, that's
is
what's
sitting
up.
on small
I'll tell you,
investing.
yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
But it's just funny how when you get introduced to these things, your perspective changes on how you see life, on how you walk, on how you
Man.
talk, on how you just move. So
Right.
that's crazy.
Right. Even my conversation going back to the piece, it had got to a point at the age of 17, I had done so much. I remember going to my mama's house one day, like when you go in her driveway, and it's a big yard, and there was some bushes right there. I'd pull in the driveway to cut the lights on bright and scan the whole backyard, thinking somebody would try to do something to me. I would get out of the car with the gun in hand and walk all the way with my back to the door until I got in and locked the door. And that's the kind of life I had to live for a long, long time. But
That's deep.
I'm so proud
No
of
way
you.
to
I ain't
live.
never been able to see
Yeah.
it, man. And I'm thankful, you know what I'm saying, for me, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I can't see it. I can't see me, having to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I understand your situation. I'm glad you made it through. It's just like, you look at other people's lifestyle, and you say, man, you know how that brother make it, or how that sister make it up out of that. You know, some of the women that might have went through, you know, being raped and molested, and then they come out on the other end, and you say, man, how was she able to endure that type of pain? You know what I'm saying?
I'm still asking. I promise you, man. I'm still asking.
Yeah. Oh, it's just probably because you just been blessed with a certain resiliency. Everybody doesn't have a certain resiliency, a certain like comeback. Like, cause I've seen people go through small things. I'm like, but that broke you. Like,
Right.
Like, bro, I've been through 12 times that somebody talking about you broke you.
That's it.
That's it. They didn't put their hands on you. That broke you. God, but you weak. Boy. But it's just because I think everybody's blessed with a certain resiliency, and like it's just, to me, I just believe God just gives certain people certain things because he knows the path they have to go down isn't going to be easy. He has to give you tough skin, like especially being a black man. I feel like this melanin is my armor.
Man, I'm telling you.
I feel like it's my armor. I promise you. I feel like I'm so much stronger being an African American male because it's almost like I came out the womb knowing I'm 10 points down.
That's real. And like, what you was asking a while ago about the odds pretty much being stacked against me, people always say, well, it's going to be hard for you to get a job. You're a felon, and on top of that, you're a black man. Every time I went to apply for a job, I got it right on the spot. Every time.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that's favor.
That's favor.
Mindset. Yes, mindset. You know, every time I've walked into something, it's it's worked out. So I'm at the point where it's like I ain't even been to prison. I sure
Do you, when I'm relating you to the average person out here who may have a decent job and they got all the trimmings, do you see yourself having a great amount of fear for failure at times? Or do you say, you know what, I done failed so much?
I made a comment on somebody's post. I was like, I've been at the complete bottom.
So it doesn't even phase you. And I say that because I know that when, you know, especially like some business that you may be in, or, you know, I may find myself talking to individuals and you may say, well, man, go and try that. And they seem like they shaking in their boots when they scared to just jump. And you like, you know, like Steve Harvey had that book out talking about take that jump. And you say, well, ain't nothing else to do but fail. You know, fail it's gonna be okay if you fail and start over. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, well, listening to you, I'm like, well, hell, he done failed a million times, and now he's starting to see the success. But you can't get the guy or the gal that got the trimmings and the fixings in it, but they want to do something for themselves, but they don't want to fail. And that baffles me.
But that's what it benefits, though. When you failed early, later on, you are not as nervous to take as many risks because you already know what failure looks like.
That's it.
When you look at the person that's never failed, the person that's always, every time they try something, it just goes through, I almost feel sorry for that person.
Right.
Because you never failed. Like, you don't know what that looks like and it scares you to death. But because in a lot of people's mind, especially with social media, failure is like, everybody gonna talk about you. Failure is something so foreign. But what they don't know is that you see only 10% of somebody's life on Instagram. If somebody hit me up the other day and was like, man, you doing so good. You out here moving. I said, man, if you only knew how on a daily basis I make 40 calls and 39 of them are no. Or people I have to chase around constantly, and they only see the small things where I might be on the stage or I might be in certain rooms. You don't know the fight I had to go. You don't know the failure I had to go through to get to these rooms. And because, like, even playing football, for me to play college football, I had to go through the toughest route you could possibly go to get on a football team. And I made the traveling squad. I got a verbal offer until I got injured. It's just a whole lot. So I feel bad for people that have never failed, but because you have failed, because everybody in this room has pretty much failed a little bit earlier, later on in life, when it's like, I want to do this, I'm finna make this jump, it's like, shoot, if I jump out of my job and I want to be an entrepreneur, I can get another job.
I promise you, that's exactly what I would tell my family. I said, if I go to Atlanta and all this, I'll come back and work in a factory. You know, if that's what I have to do until I make enough money to go back and do what it is I'm trying to do. But, you know, you gotta get outside of your comfort zone. I think that's what scares a lot of people. They get so used to this consistent check and being able to pay their bills and take care of their kids. So they don't take that leap to jump out there. You know, and they say, and a lot of people say, well, I trust God, he gonna do this. You ain't made a move for him to do
Exactly.
for you to see what he really want to do.
That's it. That makes sense. That's it. Self-plug, I wrote a blog, Failure of a Hustler's Ambition. So y'all go check that out, ishipHopDead.com. Yeah, I wrote that. I just, you know, so he just tied right in. I see what that. He right on time.
Well, I'm with Cool Water. It's time for a movie script. I believe that is where you need to start working on that like immediately.
You gotta write it.
Because
Somebody got to write it with you.
I can already see it on the big screen.
That's gonna be tough.
My book is actually wrote out.
That's gonna be tough.
It's like a play.
Okay.
It ain't even like your regular novel. It's pretty much like a play.
That's gonna be tough.
I got a filmmaker I want to introduce you to. We'll have that conversation off air. I already know a couple people that I think you need to go ahead. Let's make these moves.
That's gonna be tough.
And get you in the position you need to be in. Sound good? I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad you stepped out on faith and did what I'm sure people at home were like, man, you going to Atlanta? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when you get there?
Talk me out of it. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. Listen, I don't hear that. I'm finna go after this, man. I just done 10 straight. I've been in and out of trouble like I said. I'm 14, man.
I ain't got no more time to waste.
Ain't no time to waste.
My daughter 14, and my child at 15. I just turned 30 in December. I'm like, man, it's time.
Okay.
I love it. Well, please tell our audience where they can get your books.
Well, you could go to Amazon and get my book. You have to type in The Life Sunday to Sunday by Joe Baker for the search. You can go on my Instagram. I also have a website. It's a link on my Instagram at Baker, Baker, and 3 I's, III. You can go on my Facebook, Joe T. Baker III. And there's a lot of fake pages that's been made, but it's a picture. It's a picture of me inside his head with a blue shirt on. That's my real page.
Oh, people making fake pages of your page?
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Everybody.
You blowing up, dog. You blowing up. If they doing that, you all right. Because they could be not doing that. And you be like, and ain't nobody looking at me, man. You blowing up.
That's the code right there. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, can you hang around to the end of the show?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We got our third guest. He's in the building. Just got in from South Carolina. We'll bring him on, and then we'll have all the guys. All right? You're live in the air with Regina Sunshine and the Boss Men here on the Living Like a Boss Show on Instinct Radio.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine with the Living Like a Boss Men show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose. Hi, it's your girl Regina Sunshine, bringing you the Regina Sunshine Show, my version of midday motivation, helping you get a Regina Sunshine state of mind. Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine, and they call me the Affirmation Queen. Why am I called the Affirmation Queen? Because I'm a big believer that if you change the way you speak, you'll change the way you think, and you'll change the circumstances in your life. So start today speaking words of life over you and your circumstances, and see if everything doesn't begin to line up with those things that you are speaking. And I want to leave you with these parting thoughts. Remember this: God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life. And take with you my personal motto. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuning in to the very best. It's yours truly, Jazzy Fizzle, Fizzle, Fizzle. And this is Instinct Radio, man. Tune in, baby. Oh, boy.
Get my mic ready. All right, everyone. It's your girl, Regina Sunshine, coming to you from a beautiful day in Atlanta. We are here with the Boss Men on the Living Like a Boss show, and we have our third and final guest of the day. Welcome to the show from Greenwood, South Carolina, Rico Casey.
Thank you.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good.
I am so glad you're here. I always like to mention how I met someone. Jed from Street Capital Records. If y'all know Street Capital in Atlanta was having a hair show and you were singing on stage. That was the first time I heard you perform, and I could not believe I lived in Greenwood at that point probably for like 12 years. I had never heard your name, never heard you sing, but I've been a fan ever since. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So real quick, tell our audience who you are and what you do.
I'm Rico Casey from Greenwood, South Carolina. I'm singing. I'm starting to move pretty good. I'm starting to do a couple shows. I had a show about a month ago with Brian McKnight, David Hollister, and Calvin Richardson, and I'm starting to kind of move on the blues circuit now.
On the blues circuit. Yeah. Well, that was one of my questions. I was going to ask you some of the people you've been performing with, because I've been seeing, I'm a big Calvin Richardson fan, so when I saw that was like, ooh, I wanted to be there for that show. Music, how did you get into music?
Started in the church. I mean, just always my mom, my dad, my aunt, my whole family, everybody sings. So I just been blessed with the gift. Yep.
So for you, has music been, I guess, an outlet? Because I know you're doing a lot more of it now, but I'm sure you have other areas that you're focusing on. But has this been, I guess, the dream, the one thing that you've held on to?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. But I guess to say I have something in my back pocket, went to school, got my degree, engineering. So just say, if music doesn't work, I can always work a 9 to 5. I just been, going at it real hard here in the last couple months. Just put my focus in my music, because I actually, I had a house and I was like, well, I'm gonna build my own studio. Something that I never, tried. I'm the one that I'll try anything. So, I just drew up some plans, with my drawing software. I built my own studio, started recording my own music. And I actually have a clip of it, but I'll have to send that to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to school? My background, I'm Kimmy. I went to North Carolina A&T. My degree is in chemical engineering.
I actually went to Tech for 2 years and got my 2-year degree in electrical engineering, and then did the transfer program through South Carolina State.
That's what's up. I didn't know that. So why engineering?
I always did stuff with my hands. I always did wiring, electrical stuff. So I'm just, I guess, a gadget man.
So you're here today to talk about your new projects, what you got going on. Tell us about the music. First of all, I have to say this for you guys, because y'all going to be new fans after today. Y'all remember the real music? Mm-hmm. You know, the real music.
We still listen to.
Yeah. Rico saying that real music. So tell us about the projects you're working on.
Oh, I have so many. Right now I have a live band that I actually travel with. It's called Elevation. I have my own music I'm working on. It's Rico. I got a couple songs. I'm not really doing an album. I'm just putting out music. Every time I finish a song, I get it mastered, get it done, I put it out. So to me, I'm not really doing an album. So like with my band, we do music, we put it out. Because I would rather give people an opportunity to say, okay, I don't really like the whole album, but I just want to get the song. Mm-hmm. So that's what my mindset was as far as the music.
So let's talk about this, and this is the part I think that all of us can join in. How music has shifted. Let's have that conversation. You know, there was a time, because I am a 90s music kind of person, the real R&B kind of person, and things have kind of shifted. I'm interested in y'all's opinions on the shift that's been made in the music, and how do we get back to real music? We'll start with you, Rico.
I guess it's just a generation thing. You know, it's kids have different mindsets now and what they see. And when somebody give them a pathway, people just kind of harness on that and just stay with that. But you got to get some of these guys that doing good old school R&B, good old school music to start back moving, the Jodeci's. The Stevie Wonder, that was my favorite. People like that, Brian McKnight, David Hollister, they did like the real soulful R&B music.
Yeah. Ben?
I think that there is still a lot of good music out there. It's just, it might just be overshadowed by some of the clutter.
Yes.
And sometimes people, it's certain things you just have to accept the certain music for what it is. Like, cause I used to be real hard on the Migos for a real long time. I used to be like, but they suck. I hate them. I can't stand them. But once I stopped trying to make them Jay-Z and Nas and my boy Kendrick Lamar and just listen to them for what they are, just like they it's fun music, it's party music. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna have a good time to it. I'm not finna sit here and listen to it, think about my master plan. Listen to the Kendrick, but I think it all has a place because even in the '90s there was some garbage music.
Yeah.
So I think that it's not so much that there isn't. It just you might have to find it and accept the music that's more popular for what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you restate that question again? Because I want to make sure I'm talking about the one you just asked him. Because I got something else. My mind going somewhere else. I want to make sure.
Well, I guess my basic question is, how do we get back to that place where? Because I know some amazing underground independent artists here in Atlanta that are doing the thing, but they're not getting the press. They're not getting the love. I guess that the '90s R&B was getting then, because there's so much other stuff that people are being drawn. So how do we get to a place where we do, bring that back and it is getting the love that they should get?
I think it's going to be a collective of you guys being disruptors, being really hard-head, obnoxious, rambunctious people who just not going to take no, because you dealing with an animal, which is the record company, that really don't want to put out what you got to offer. Because I came up on all of the Jodeci. I mean, in 7th grade, we used to slow dance. We don't slow dance. There's no slow dancing nowhere in America now.
Really?
Nowhere.
Oh, for real, they're not slow
No,
dancing?
kids don't slow dance no more. Matter of fact, little girls don't want you to even approach them if a slow. They go sit down. Now, if Amigos come on, or you got an R&B with some hip hop bass, and they kind of. But when it come to that, stuff from the '90s and the '70s, the Stevie Wonders or what's the guy, Cameos and all that. Them dudes ain't listening to that. Like even Prince. Prince, his music was iconic, but there's a generation of youth that they'll listen to it. They might not fully get that emotional connection, but they ain't finna do no dancing on it. They not gonna do no, okay, man, well, I'm gonna talk to my girlfriend, because this is what we used to do, talk to my girlfriend in the background with the Isley Brothers playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we was doing. I even used to make, when I would break up with a girl, I would make tapes with Tony.
Yeah, ain't nobody making tapes.
And I would talk over the tape so I could, so I could get her back. You know what I mean? Ain't none of that happening. So I'm just saying you got to be.
With the no slow dance, and I did not know there's no slow dance.
They don't slow dance no more.
They don't even know how to two-step no more.
They don't know. No, that ain't even a dance no more. Like, it's over. You know what I mean? So I'm saying all that to say that I think because of the record industry now is more pushing towards more of the hip hop R&B, more not the soulful ballads, that it's gonna just take a collective of you guys being out there really just being obnoxious and really knocking down doors and going about it like they say, the Master P way. You got to go about it the independent way until they say, okay, well, they ain't never fell off. We just wasn't supporting it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So that's just my take on it.
So what's your dream collaboration? I mean, who would you love to record a song with?
Well, I mean, I got my fingers crossed. I've done a lot of shows with Calvin and reached out to him on the show. He said, just get with me. So I'm just making sure the right song that I present to him.
Well, since you know Calvin like that, that's one of my bucket list guests. It's like, I mean, for real, to have him on the show. I would love you to just say Regina Sunshine Show Atlanta, just put that kind of there in his ear, because I'm a really big fan. But that would be an amazing collaboration.
Yeah, I would do my best.
All right. Well, what are you gonna sing for us today?
It's a song I wrote. It's called My Fantasy. I mean, it just got up one morning and started playing it on the keyboard, and it just came together.
All right, y'all ready to hear a little Rico Casey?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, just long enough for him to get in position, and then you're going to be live on the air with Rico Casey from Greenwood, South Carolina. We'll be right back here on the Living Like a Boss show on Instinct Radio.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine with the Living Like a Boss Men show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
All right, you guys, you're in for a treat. All the way from Greenwood, South Carolina, here to perform a personally written song. We have Mr. Rico Kaysen.
I'm sitting home, reminiscing about the love we had yesterday. I never thought that this could ever be true, 'cause beautiful is what you are, and girl, I had to say, I won't change it, I'll maintain it. When I held your hand and squeezed you so tightly, girl, you know that you excite me. See, my heart is racing, my pants are racing, 'cause you are blazing. I wanna give you all of my love. If this is a dream, please don't you wake me. If this is reality, girl, don't you leave me. 'Cause my heart is racing, my pants are racing, 'cause you are blazing. I wanna give you all of my love. From what I'm feeling, and this may be a fantasy, but girl, don't you leave me. This must be love. From what I'm feeling, and this may be a fantasy, but girl, don't you. As I look into your eyes, you got me hypnotized. Let me run my fingers through your hair to let you know that I care, baby. See, I'm rubbing your thighs, gripping your hips, licking your lips. The temperature is getting warmer. The touch you feel is getting stronger. See, all I wanna do is make you so happy. When you're with me, I'm leaving a feeling you won't forget. This loving you won't regret. Telling your friends that you have met one of your most beautiful experience. This must be love. From what I'm feeling, and this may be a fantasy, but girl, don't you leave me. Love. From what I'm feeling, and this may be a fantasy, but girl, don't you leave me. This is my man Stephen Galloway right here on the saxophone. He from Greenwood too. Girl, I need you. Let him play the part.
It's Rico, My Fantasy.
I remember, I don't know, seeing you in Greenwood. I think you were singing one of the Isley Brothers here. I can't remember what it was. All those the women started finding their way to the stage. I was like, it's not even that type. Oh, I'm sorry. I said, I forgot. I'm going to have a microphone in my hand and everything. I think they forgot it wasn't even that type of show. You started singing, but, they started getting that type of feeling. You know what I'm saying? Fulfillment. What type of fulfillment do you get from singing that? I mean, that really takes me somewhere. That's just not you heard a song and it was you start to get, it's an experience. You begin to feel what you're saying. How does it feel to sing that type of music?
It feels good. And I guess in the light of everything, you go through like different situations. And I try to storybook my music. You know what I mean? I just kind of just close my eyes and I just turn the lights out when I'm in the studio and I just write.
So is there someone that inspires you?
You can't have someone to actually inspire music. Yeah, definitely.
Ned was like, yeah, right. Hold your mic up where we can hear you. So, this particular song, was there a particular inspiration for? I mean, that's really grown folks, at the end of the week and the kids is going to grandmama house kind of music. That's let's make some babies.
Yeah.
Kind of music.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's kind of an inspiration. Yeah. I would
he
say.
He ain't gonna say. I done asked it twice in 2 different ways.
He tap dancing around that.
Yeah, they could do that.
He trying not to get somebody some credit somewhere. They ain't solidifying a position. They just inspired the song.
Yeah.
Oh, say that again. That was good. What you saying?
They haven't solidified a position. They just inspired the song.
That's what's up. I'm gonna have to go somewhere and put that on some hashtag.
That's funny.
So what shows do you have coming up? What events do you have coming up?
I have so many. I have a big show coming up in Promised Land. It's called Blues in the Land, and it's the actual first time that we are attempting something like this. But I guess me doing like blues music, I ran into a lot of great guys like Mr. Theodore Easley, one that sings stand up in it. Mr. Nelson Curry, Sugar Shack Man. Been working with a guy by the name of Joe Nice, party starter. We just doing a lot of collaboration, and I had some good ideas that come up and say, well, why don't you just try to give back, do something for the community? Because at Promised Land right now, we're going through a lot of stuff, It's trying to uplift the community, rebuild our school. So we're trying to put together this first annual blues show down in Promised Land, and I had agreements with Mr. Theodore Easley. He said he would come do it.
That's dope.
I got Nelson Curry. He sings Sugar Shack. Myself, my
daddy
band.
Music. I hear. I've heard these songs. My daddy playing over and over again.
Joe Nice. He's coming to the show. So we just trying to do it right now on a low scale, low budget type deal. But it's all coming together and getting a lot of great feedback from that, and also just music with the band. With my band, we doing some weddings. We're doing April the 26th. We'll be at Greenwood, South Carolina, at the outside. What is it? The farmers market.
Okay.
We just go up there and do all kind of music. Roger Trout, Lenny Williams. We play everything. We play country music. We do everything.
For people that don't know, say I know what Promised Land is. Tell them what Promised Land is, because I always don't know what Promised Land is.
It's the Promised Land. It's just a community. It's just community of people. Historically, this land was promised to a guy, and it just this community just been close knit for many years.
Black owned property, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing I like, because most people don't. When they come to Greenwood for the first time, they hear the name Promised Land. Like, what is that? And I was like, you go out there. I said that's land, and it's owned by people of color, and you don't hear as much of that anymore. So I always love to mention that whenever people mention Promised Land.
Yeah, I don't actually. Greenwood is the big area, but I'm always representing Promised Land. That's just me. I'm just country boy. I do music, and I just I'm happy from where I'm from. You know what I mean? I just do music. That's it.
So if someone wanted to buy that song or get that song that you just sang or some of your other music, where can they find your music?
I actually have a whole album out. I have singles out. So if you just type in RIKO on Google and just look up Rico, What's on a Man's Mind, or you type in, go to Apple Music and look up Rico, My Fantasy, or look up Elevation, but it's spelled funny. It's E-Love, A-T-I-O-N, but the elevation, it was derived from you gotta love what you're doing to actually elevate. So it has the love in the middle of the word elevation.
I love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break. One of our other boss guys just walked into the building, and I'm going to let him lead the discussion. Y'all better get ready, because this dude here is the truth. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Lars Hodges is in the building, live here on the Living Like a Boss show on Instinct Radio.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
Hello, it's your girl Regina Sunshine with the Living Like a Boss Men show, where we discuss business, occupation, service, and significance, giving our men a place to have a barbershop conversation with a purpose.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.
All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine and the Boss Men. It's turned into a real boss show. I started the show off by myself, and then Ben showed up, and then everybody joined in, and it's been good. Lars Hodges is one of our seasoned, I guess you'd say, boss man, and is always very purposeful in his conversations. I mentioned him earlier. He does a series of workshops about revolutionary economics, revolutionary independence. He's all about our community and taking back what's ours. So the topic of the day was living on purpose, but I don't know what's on your heart. What topic do you want to discuss with the men today?
I think that we're on par with that. And first off, thank you for having me.
Always good to have you.
It's good to be here with you gentlemen. I hate that I got here so late, but I was tied up with other obligations. So I've just been working a lot lately, and I've been very, very tired. I had a conversation with my father yesterday about I didn't go to work 2 days last week because I woke up and I just said something's just not right. And my hand to God, I've been working so much, 2 jobs, and I'm just, I don't feel like I'm getting a whole lot of traction, and I'm making some gains, but they're very marginal when you compare it to the level of sweat equity that I'm putting in to both jobs. Mm-hmm. And it just paused me and it froze me. And I said, I can't even go to work. Something's not right. And I think it's very in tune with the idea of purpose. So at any rate, I had to talk with my dad about something. And I got off last night at 12:30, drove from Conyers, and I didn't get home till a little after 1 o'clock. And I had to lay down. I dozed off on the couch and then got up. I think I slept for about 30 minutes, got up and laid in the bed, and then couldn't sleep the whole night. And I was experiencing what I like to consider some serious spiritual turmoil, all throughout the night. And so I got to thinking and talking to people about this, and this is the reason why I'm bringing this up when we start talking about living in your purpose. And my father was just like, there's something that you're supposed to be doing. Mm. And he was like, you're not going to be comfortable until you begin to do it. You can do all this, that, and the other. And I found myself, and this is the honest to God truth. And we think about God when we communicate with God, it's a mental process. But our words have power, right? So I said to myself, I found myself in the middle of the night saying, I completely submit, And I'm talking about out of my mouth, I said this. Now, there's nobody in the room but me and God. And so what I found is that the more that we begin to get in tune with the Creator, first off, science does, I've said this, reinforce, it doesn't contradict biblical principles. It reinforces biblical and spiritual principles, because if knowledge can be neither created nor destroyed, then that means that He knew you before you was in your mother's womb. that means you existed beforehand and you will afterward, which really means that you're a spiritual being. Now, we'll be on the earth 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, but that's very minuscule when you start talking about comparison to eternity, because what is that? Something that has no beginning and no end, right?
Okay. All right.
And so what I begin to understand about these spiritual principles that I've been coming, this spiritual energy that I've come in contact with, is that you really a spirit being. You're really not human. And so when we don't operate in the spirit, you're really going against yourself, because that's what you are. So the more that we in tune ourselves with the Creator, the more that we in tune ourselves with that which created us, the more that we begin to have the same power and exercise the same power. And so when we begin to speak, the universe will move into action the same way it did for the Creator. And so I say all that to say this. If you've been going through anything like I have, and I never thought I would, get in tune with that. You got to get in tune with that. It's so serious, you know what I mean? And I never understood what this spiritual energy is like. So working at APS, I talked to Erica this morning, I found myself in tears when I was talking about, because I can't explain in words this spiritual energy that has come over me. And I said, so I've been going places now, and where I've been working, it's not really in my field per se, but I'm noticing that things around me are starting to change. The more that I stay steadfast to who I am and not compromise. And so I'm going to summarize it so that we can really get into it. But what happened to me was I started realizing, and I said this 7-8 weeks ago, don't watch the news anymore. It's not real. And somebody said, it is real. Somebody's house burned down. That was real. Okay, I said, 1 million people born a day, 1 million people going to die a day. The news is only going to highlight the tragic deaths. You understand what I'm saying? I said, so we got to guard what we take in. Now I'm working with these babies at Forest Hills High School and Crim and Washington High. And I said, I don't see what they talking about. I only see the good because I'm operating in the spirit. You understand what I'm saying? And so what happens is that they operating in the spirit. My man told me, he said, oh, well, you can't put your mouth on a man of God. And I said, well, that means put your mouth on no man, because every man is a man of God, because every man was created by God. And so what happens is when we start to communicate and we exude that image of God, then we get it back. And it naturally comes back, because even if they misguided or they're bad, there's something in them that spiritually resonates with your spirit when you exude that out. And so I say that to say this, my brethren, it's a good day to be here. I'm tired. I've been laboring, but I know I'm safe now. You know what I mean? I don't know how, but because I trust the driver, I don't have to question the route. You got it? So when we start talking about living in our purpose, I would say, because we're spiritual, we have to get in tune with that spirit. And however y'all want to take it and go from there, but that's my testimony for what I just dealt with last night. And I wanted to put that on y'all.
Did it resonate with you?
Man, look at before I started, when I came home pushing my book, I started as soon as I got home, going from different miles, pushing my book as much as possible. I met somebody and I slowed down. And it wasn't the person that slowed me down. I got a job and I started working. I worked for about maybe almost 2 months, but it got so heavy on me. It got to the point where I was driving my tow motor, I would stop and literally cry, because I knew I had stopped doing what God had told me to do. I knew it. And I went to my boss and I told my boss, I said, look, I said, man, I appreciate the opportunity. You know, I'm a felon, you still gave me a job. And I said, look, it's so heavy on me to get back to doing what God told me to do. I said, to the point I'm uncomfortable. And he was like, man, go do what you need to do. He said, if you need your job, he said, call me, I'll hire you back the same day you say you need it back. He said, go do what you need to do. And I took off the next day. And I'm here now. So.
He came to the city in pursuit of purpose.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's faith.
That's faith.
That's real faith.
That's why I kept looking, because I was like, man, that sounded like, what I was going through. So
yeah.
I commend you on talking about getting in tune with the source, because the more, like you said, the more and more you're in tune with who you are in the spiritual realm, you can move and operate the way you're supposed to.
And you'll have peace.
That is.
Yeah. It's way more peaceful, because when I got laid off from my job or got fired from my job, it was it was funny how it happened because it just happened on a random day, and I wasn't doing bad. I was doing good, but I got fired. But it was because I told God, I had this conversation with God like 2-3 months prior, that once I get to a certain point in my savings account, I'm gonna quit. And when it, and then when it got to that point, I was like, I'm gonna stay another month, because in that next month I was supposed to have like solidified a couple contracts, so I would have some other income coming in or whatever. And God was like, "Nah, player, nah, my butt. I'm gonna go ahead and cut you right now."
Right.
In moving, in me having that drive on that drive home or drive to the gym, I was like, man, what am I going to do? Am I really going to take this jump? And you know how you start thinking in your head, you start comparing, contrasting, and then an hour later I got a call from another job, and I was like, I just need to just do this, because he showed me I can get another job. Right. You can't do that.
That's right.
But I need you to do what I'm asking you to do, because if you do what I ask you to do, you'll never work another job in your life.
Right.
And even though I'm not making my IT money, it's free gigs I do, but if you see, you can't tell what's free and what's paid, because no matter where I'm at, I'm giving everything I got. Like, I went to a little career day with a school I got a great relationship with. I did something separate for their young men or whatever. You would have thought I was getting paid for that little workshop I was doing, but I was in there. I got to go back, because I told the kids I was coming back. Man, it's when you moving in purpose, it's almost like, I won't say money doesn't matter, but when you in that zone, like, it doesn't matter if you getting paid $5,000 or $5. You gonna get that same energy. That's
right.
That's why I tell people to stop looking at the money and move in purpose and what it is that you really love to do, because the money is gonna come. I got mentors and people around me that they're making six figures, $500,000 right now, doing what I do. And they're like, hey, you just keep getting good at the craft at this small level. Make your mistakes at this small level, because when you get to a certain income, you can't make these same mistakes.
That's right.
So you need to learn, and this is your training ground right now. And that's why you got to love what you do, because when you love the process, don't love the prize, love the process. That's real. When you love the process of something, it changes the way you do it. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it changes the way you do it.
Run outside.
That's real.
Oh boy.
I will say this because I've watched you during this transition, and it's a beautiful thing to see you find this space, because you've been searching for it. You didn't know what you were searching for.
I sure didn't.
But we've had these conversations. You knew there was something else, but you began to walk in there, and I promise you, like Ben, things will begin to move now, because you operating in that space you're supposed to be in, the space you were divinely created to be in. And all the other time you were trying to find it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You were going left and right, but you found it now. And now you just need to be careful. Whatever he says to do it. If you go to the stop sign and he said, Lars, take a left. Bam, I'm going to the left. Right. You understand? You got to be so in tune that you hear every command as it comes to you and you act on it.
That's right. That's right. And I felt that's what I felt was being said to me in a revelatory manner, that you're going to have to trust me for everything. Mm-hmm. Not half you do some, half me do some. And I battle with that, because we do have that spirit of autonomy in us, because that come from him too. But it's the submission to the will that breaks the chains that's holding us up. You understand what I'm saying? And so when I went to the job, when I went to this other job, and I noticed that things changed, and the guy said last night, he said, man, he's like, I wish every day could be like this. He's like, we're working together. But what it is that I stopped looking at what you can do for me, and I started approaching it, what is it that I can do for you?
Yeah, it is.
And when we give this power up, whether we give it to our brethren or whether we give it to God, he'll turn around and give it back. But it's the submission to the will, and it has to happen that way.
Well, it's interesting. And can we talk about what you've been through this last year?
Sure.
For those who don't know, that don't follow. Well, first of all, he's the host of a show called Beer and a Conversation. And they sit around this bar, they drink beer, and had the conversations you would have at your grandma's house during the family reunion, or in the bar, those types of real conversations. But before that, Larry's very successful, had his own trucking company, doing really well, in a position where you probably weren't looking to trust God or anything, were you? Because you were the man.
I was thinking in the natural and not the supernatural. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And those are two very distinct things, because the supernatural don't look logical. Right. So, right. So recently, my dad when we talked yesterday, I didn't even bring this up, but I figured I would, and I had that convertible, and I'm like, any day they're going to come and pick this convertible up, and I'm like, man, you know, and I'm fine with that. You know, I was just thinking things will turn around and whatnot, and he told me yesterday that they wrote that off as bad debt. And so I can't explain these things to you. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and it was so much money owed on that car. And this is what I'm saying, the supernatural. There's some things that you won't need money for. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And this thing, I'm telling you, as I begin to look at it, I am just amazed at the changes I see with people around me in the environments that I'm in. And it can't be a coincidence.
It's not. Well, you know, if you had not gone through what you went through this year, do you think you find yourself in this place?
Absolutely not. I was too comfortable. Absolutely not. I mean, we're talking $3,500 to $4,000 a week, and I could be here with you every Monday or whenever because I didn't have to report to nobody. You know, at 35 years old, and I mean, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's a lot of money to have to replace overnight. And you don't have enough time to give to nobody to make that kind of money, unless you're a cardiologist or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's over $200K, boss.
You know what I'm saying? And now I can talk about it now because I don't have it now, so nobody can prey on me. You know what I mean? Right. But I mean, everything. You know, I mean, I could do what I wanted to do. I could travel tomorrow at the drop of a dime, not book it ahead of time, book it tomorrow, book it today. You understand what I'm saying? That type of autonomy, that type of freedom. But what I got now, you remember when David said, no matter what, you know, think about how powerful that was when David said, no matter what, you take the kingdom, don't take this thing that me and you got. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. Because if I lose that,
come on.
This piece I got, ain't no money can buy that. Right. Ain't nothing can buy that. You know what I mean? And it's real. Yeah. It's so real. I never seen spiritual energy like this before. Right. And so, you know, I know I was running behind. I didn't know what you wanted me to talk about when I got here, but it just kind of fell in place with what I've been dealing with. You know that because I called you last week.
Yeah.
Right. You know.
I'm proud of you. Because like I said, I've seen the journey. I met you when you were balling, for real, for real. Mm-hmm. I remember when we went, we went to the Bronze Lens Festival. Yeah. And I went to try to find some free parking. He said, I ain't never been here and ain't paid for valet. He was just like, you go free park? Where did free park at? You know?
But and I feel like when you've been to that mountaintop and I feel like if you've gotten it and you lose it, you can get it back.
That's better.
Because that's the difference between an entrepreneur that has made $250K and somebody that's in a corporate position that made $250K. Mm-hmm. The corporate person is usually somebody giving them or placing them in the position. When you're an entrepreneur and you've had to hunt for what you'll figure out a way to eat. Right. You'll figure out a way to hunt. And it's a skill that is so rare and that we lost when Ford Motor Company and everybody came in and created a middle class. Because at a certain point, it was a bartering system. You had to create your own before the middle class came in and made the playing field almost even where people were giving you stuff. And I feel like that's where the economy is actually about to start going back to, because now people are getting fired in positions that if you cannot add value, if you cannot make money in this position, help us make money, you're going to get fired. That's where the VI, the virtual reality, and the voice engineering stuff is coming, because people have gotten so comfortable in the 9 to 5, I get my check every Friday, 1st and the 15th, that we finna cut that out. So I believe that's why I love what I do, because I believe if I can make a living, I can make a fortune.
Well, and you know, that's agreement. I listen to Bob Proctor, and I listen to a lot of this stuff that's good brain food. And he said the money you make in life will be tied to the need for what it is that you do, how well you are at it, and the likelihood that they can replace you. You know what I mean? They say if you're on point with 1 and 2, then you probably don't even have to worry about 3. Yes. You know, so absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. But you know what? I tell you this. I wouldn't have if I had not gone through, I would never have the appreciation that I had. I didn't even realize what I had to be quite honest with you. And so the appreciation is there, and I know that, I don't know, like I said, I don't know how yet, but,
Right.
but I know it's coming. And it's going to be beautiful, and we're going to be blessing people along in the process. We're going to be blessing them with something that they can live with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I'm happy to be here today, and I'm glad I could bring some
Perfect.
contribution to the show.
Give us 10 extra minutes now. I want to say this. One of the blessings from you being in this space is you got to work in the schools now. And it's giving you a whole different perspective on what
Absolutely.
our kids need. And I think that added to your purpose and your vision for what you're going to do now, because, like I said, if you're not in the schools, right, you don't really know.
Man.
You can't tell people what's really going on.
They don't
And
know.
he's educated. If you're just on the outside, you be like, oh, it look like it's okay. No. You need to get in there and see. And since you've been in there, how has that changed your perspective now you've been in the schools working?
Well, I say this, like I said, it's changed in the sense, the biggest thing for me is that, they report on a small percentage, not the vast majority. And these kids are dying of thirst. They don't even know that they're thirsty yet till they get a taste of water.
Mm.
And people are saying, we've got to get rid of this plantation style leadership and go with more of a real God, not an inverse God style of leadership. That is a lead by example type of leadership. And it's that I need to be what it is. I need to be the example of what it is I want you to be for me. And that's why I don't have any issues with any of these young men or young women, because I treat them the way that I want to be treated. I move on egalitarian principles. I give them respect, and I'm there to serve them. It's not the other way around. And so, people say, I've heard people say all types of stuff when I bring up Forest Hills. But I'm like, even if it's the Lions, then I must be Daniel, because I ain't got bitch yet. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
That's it.
Yeah. That's because they're looking at that small majority that those kids might have been misguided. They do something real crazy, but it's not the whole school.
No.
People be like, because I've been to Crim and all the other stuff. They be like, but that junk is terrible. I walk in there, I'm like, oh, they talk to me, we cool. Like, I walk in there with like, what's up, bro? Y'all good?
I literally can touch them and grab them, put them in headlocks, play with them. It's no problem.
It's because other people are scared. Like,
Yeah.
people are scared of what they don't know. That's why perspective is everything. Like, it's so crazy when you start getting to this perspective, because everybody thinks everybody lives the same life. Like, if you grew up, like, okay, so for example, it was somebody put up a post about how, like, African Americans don't live the same life as Caucasians do. Like, in Caucasian culture, it's like they live in a cul-de-sac, they have a fun, to go to school, all this other stuff. And they didn't realize, there were certain people that didn't realize that we don't have that. Like, we have to fight for a lot more than they do. And they were like, I didn't even know y'all had to do that. I didn't even know y'all didn't have a college fund. I didn't know that you guys didn't grow up this way. And it's because their perspective is different, because they grew up in a rich household and we grew up how we grew up.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said before. You didn't know that there was life outside
Did
of
not
hustle.
know.
That's
I
all
thought
you
everybody
said.
was living like that. Even like when he was talking about perspective, like even being in the mall, you learn so much about people. It just changed your perspective. Just every day, I'm learning something more because I grew up in such a small environment.
Well, I thank you. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and we all kings in here. You don't have to have a crown to be a king.
That's perfect ending. Well, that's the end of the show. But what I want everybody to do before we go, remind everybody how they can reach you on social media, and if there's one final thought, one final word you want to say before we go, do that. Cool Water.
Social media, Facebook.com / the digital dope man. Twitter, Cool Water 101. Final thought, man, I think that brother said it all. Just, stay in your purpose. I've been through, the tuggle and the struggle with, the spirit side. And, man, I want to do this, but I want to stay in my comfort zone. I'm happier doing me. You know what I mean? Sometimes the money ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the friends ain't right. But, I'm happy doing what I want to do. And I think everybody should seek that. Don't be so tied to you got to have a job to survive. No, you need to be creating something so you can survive and do what you want to do with your own life. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Cool Water.
I
Rico
would say
Casey.
you can follow me on Facebook, Rico Kaysen. It has everything tied to it, all my Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And what I say is, for ending, if you have a dream, I always say this when I'm singing, like I always sing, change gonna come. But in order for a change to come, you gotta actually do something for a change to come. So I pride myself on staying busy, just trying to find more information, learn about the music, figure out what type of avenues I can, exhaust to try to grow. And I mean, it's working out.
Awesome. Thank you, Benjamin.
Right. You can follow me on Instagram at BP_inspires. Facebook, Benjamin J. Puckett. Don't have a Twitter. I need to get one because my educator's on there. But just to kind of piggyback off what you said don't be what did you say again? Be busy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it a step further and don't just be busy, be productive. Like do things that are actually gonna move you forward. Right. Don't just do a bunch of stuff that you just touching stuff and you in the same exact place. Do stuff that's gonna take you forward. So don't be busy, be productive.
All right.
My social media is Joe T. Baker III. Like he said, all the rest of that good stuff is tied into my Facebook. Final word, like his brother said, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, all things will be added unto you. Don't make it all about what you need or what you're trying to do, but see what you can do for the Creator.
Awesome. Thank you. Larry Hodges.
All right. And I need to clarify that last statement I made. You don't have to wear a crown to be a king. Did I say wear or have?
You said have.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to wear a crown to be a king. But like you said, I think the culmination of what everybody's saying, if you want to harvest, the first thing you got to do is go out and plant seeds.
Amen.
Yeah.
And when is your show?
So, social media is Laris, Laris, last name Hodges, Hodges. And it's tomorrow, be on a conversation tomorrow, 6 to 8 here at Instinct Radio.
Awesome. What's the topic tomorrow?
I don't know.
You don't know yet? I know. I know he never knows. His co-host can never get that information ahead of time.
Well, I mean, unless like when Stacy came down, unless it's something that's planned. But I think it'll be worth the cost of admission. So.
Always is. Always. All right. To you guys that are listening, I leave you with our boss mandate. I like to share this because this is what God gave us when we started, boss. And it speaks so much to what we've already been hearing today in terms of moving forward and trusting God. It's Joshua 1:6-9, and it says, be strong and courageous because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And that's to all our boss men that are listening. A reminder, we will have our first ever Boss Awards, June the 11th, 6:30 to 8:30 out at the new headquarters for Regina Sunshine Global Network in Douglasville. And I'm sure all the boss guys hopefully will be in the building. My words to my boss man that I always leave you with: you are a champion. You were born to win. You are more than a conqueror. You will achieve your dreams. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You are magnificent, beautiful, amazing men, and you are worthy of the best things in life. I thank you for tuning in. I've been blessed. I'm always blessed to be in this space with some great men. And if you are wanting to connect with any of these men, reach out to me. There's some great men here that need to be in your schools, right, Benjamin? Yes. They need to be on your stages, right, Rico? Telling their stories and sharing their gifts. Just get in contact with me at reginasunshinerobinson@gmail.com. And I leave you with our boss mandate. Our boss mandate or our boss theme is this: our men need each other and our community needs our men. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be blessed, keep winning, and keep living like a boss.
The biggest station in the world, playing all of today's hits. You're listening to Instinct Radio.